Dearly beloved, we've gathered here today to honor the memory of these two bomb-ass systems, the 3DS and the Wii U. One dominating handheld gaming and the other flopped like a pancake, but regardless, it is a mindset day for all. Media preservation, be damned. Unless, of course, you modern one or both of them. In that case, my friend, go ham. But before you hack that pre-boot thing, or professional dust collector, let us all take a moment to appreciate the style, the games, the vibes of the 3DS and Wii U. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your hostess Vega, and welcome to the first ever episode of Vibes and Why, where we break down what makes gaming a one-of-a-kind experience. Join me as we send the 3DS and Wii U off into the final sunset. Sayonara, old friends. Nintendo has always had a knack for creating systems with unique charm in them. From their boot-up jingles to distinct physical appearances, the company has boasted a long history of some of gaming's most iconic platforms. Currently, its priority console is the Nintendo Switch, darling of the 8th gen and still kicking ass in the 9th, a revolutionary success that changed the gaming landscape and saved the company in its darkest hour. But the years have gone by for the system, 7 going on 8 as a matter of fact. And as the Switch enjoys its twilight years of Forza remakes, two other consoles live in its growing shadow, facing their final sunset. It was announced last year that the 3DS and Wii U Wi-Fi services will be shut down, now confirmed to be going offline April 8th, 2024. These two systems already suffered a lethal blow last spring via the shutdown of their online stores. It's a sad but inevitable reality. Nothing lasts forever, and both of these systems are officially dead. But why am I sad? Why are we sad? Who the hell even plays on Wii U? The Nintendo Switch sure is one hell of a console, but man, it just doesn't have the same style, the same flair, the same vibes as the 3DS or even the Wii U. So, what gives? Curiosity compels me, so let's dust them off and take a dive. The 3DS and Wii U represent some of the best and worst of Nintendo's mindset in terms of their platforms, striving for creative innovation while simultaneously ignoring critical baselines. But let's start off with the good stuff, what you're all probably here for, the 3DS. The 3DS hails from Nintendo's library of handhelds, originating from the 1980s Game & Watch and still going on via present-day's Nintendo Switch. To be precise, the 3DS belongs to the individual yet connected lineups of the DS's and 3DS's. The DS introduced dual-screen technology and was incrementally improved upon until the end of the DS line, the DSi XL. The 3DS begins in 2011, adding glasses-free 3D technology to the top screen, as well as general improvements to the entire build, eventually getting the XL treatment, creating what I find to be the penultimate form of the family, the 3DS XL. They received a peculiar, yet underrated little cousin in the form of the 2DS, getting a modest upgrade in power and massive downgrade in marketing with 2014's new 3DS, that too gained the XL version later, and finally ending the 3DS line via the 2DS XL. On the flip side is Nintendo's home console library, starting with the Japan-exclusive 1977 color TV game, and interestingly, technically ending with the 2012 Wii U. Though most would say that the Switch is the current home console, keep in mind that it is technically a handheld with home console capabilities. Most who are in the know can probably guess why this little oddity happened, but for those who don't, let's dive a bit into the messy life cycle of the Wii U. Obviously, it exists as an extension of the 2006 Wii, a classic Nintendo moneyprinter. If the Wii was so successful, however, why does the Wii U even exist? Well, several reasons. HD capability, beefier online, cool new controller. Yeah, and here the other side of Nintendo's mindset rears its ugly head. The Wii U exists only as a half-hearted attempt at extending the Wii's lifespan, while masquerading as an 8th-gen console, making it hard for third-party support to even consider making Wii U games, especially when the competition offered superior hardware and data and memory space. The Wii could have had HD capability and superior online performance, but the additions were waved off for one reason or another, instead focusing on the Wii's more unique motion controls. For a while, that paid off, but the novelty of motion controls stagnated while its hardware aged quickly, despite a massive library of excellent games. Meantime, Xbox and PlayStation were well ahead in developing the technologies that would later become the foundation of modern gaming. During that time, the Wii U launched and became one of the worst-selling Nintendo consoles of all time at 13.5 million. The utter embarrassment and catastrophe that was the Wii U nearly sank Nintendo, both financially and critically. It took blood, sweat, and tears to correct, but that's a story for another day. So that's it then, right? A tale of two consoles, one so obviously a success in the ways the other could have never dreamed of. Surely there isn't anything here to do the fucking wrong! Sure, the Wii U didn't do so hot, an utter failure on many fronts. But in so many other ways, it also harbors the last vestiges of some of the most style Nintendo has ever offered. Unique and fun features, great games, the best eShop, and quality of life updates everywhere. Sorry 3DS, we're kicking this party off with the Wii U, but don't you worry, we'll get back to ya. For what it lacks in technical wow factor, the Wii U, in my opinion, makes up for it with an underrated harmony of flair and polish. Physically, the system comes in a sleek white or slick black, which also denotes the difference between the 8GB or 32GB versions. I personally own the black version, and yeah, I think it looks better in black, because what doesn't? Let's take a moment to look at the gamepad, the Wii U's primary gimmick. While nowhere near as revolutionary as Nintendo was hyping it up to be, it was still an innovative addition. It actually does comfort pretty well, a little oversized perhaps, but I at least find the grip more comfortable than the Switch in handheld mode. In fact, I find it much more comfortable than the Joy-Cons, period. On the subject of the core design, the dual screen technology, not to mention the gyro controls, gave the devs a toolset that made them think outside of the box, or fit neatly inside of it. Most games simply delegated it to map duty, but the ones that did take advantage of the tech were able to show how interactive it truly can be. Fatal Frame and Nintendo Land utilized the system for highly interactive gameplay, as the game flowed out of the TV and into your room, with the gamepad as your looking glass into the world. The Zelda HD remakes were able to add a slew of quality of life updates via the gamepad, and Splatoon utilized the pad for various game mechanics and mini-games. Anyways, after awakening the ancient tablet, you're first greeted with a little loading screen. It's pretty much near identical to the Wii, but nevertheless minimalistic and clean. Once that little ditty is done, descending from a collage of floating images, you're greeted by the Mii's you, and Nintendo, abandoned so long ago, welcoming us into the plaza. Behold, the best home menu Nintendo has ever designed and executed. But perhaps that's not apparent at first glance, so let's take a minute to really soak in all those details. One of the first things on the main menu we see, as mentioned before, are the Mii's. Specifically, the Mii's staying on your system. Kinda like a, hey, welcome home sort of feel, before zooming out to show the entire plaza. The icons are spinning into reality, and an army of Mii's are running as fast as their little legs can carry them, before settling down around each icon. Nearly every single Mii represents a real person, and the placement of where they hang around depends upon the software they recently or are currently engaged with. They'll also linger around the center or on the outskirts. The Mii's purpose here is to create a sense of community, communication, and connection. Amped up online capability, especially for multiplayer and various apps, was a big selling point for the Wii U, thus emphasizing that feature via the Mii's makes sense and frankly works phenomenally. The main connectivity app, Miiverse, was simple, but it got the job done. You can view the various written and drawn posts if you hover the pointer around, with their names displayed at the top left corners of the post. Clicking on a post brings you in for a closer look. The menu that pops up will showcase the game the post is about on the left. Beside that to the right sits the eShop, in case you'd like to acquire the game. Underneath the two icons is an option to look at the post from Miiverse. Below is the option to open their Miiverse profile. At the very bottom is the close button. There's also an option to the side underneath the Mii to save that particular Mii to your Wii U. The menu makeup is very clean, but surprisingly layered. Almost every clickable button is distinguishable, with different shapes, textures, gloss, and shadings. Even the backing utilizes highlights and shadings for a faux 3D effect, topped with a checkered gray box separated by a carved indentation. Clean, yet pleasing. All this detail just to add a little bit more connection between players. Miiverse had a lot of potential, even in spite of its problems, but having a way for players to directly connect and discuss the games they're playing as they play them on the system they're playing on, building a community centered entirely around games on console, was fun and frankly underutilized. And that was a time when social media was just starting to really pop off. In this age of social media that we live in today, I'm honestly surprised they didn't carry over Miiverse for Switch. It would have done really well there, with plenty of room to grow and improve. I certainly would have preferred to not create a Twitter account just to share Splatoon 2 and 3 Plaza posts. We'll dive deeper into the Miiverse and the Mii's themselves eventually, but that's for another day. Let's move on to the Plaza itself. At first, it might seem a bit simple, but there's a lot going on here. The lighting is comfortably bright, not too much to where it's blazing, and not so little that you're strained to see everything, set in a top-down angle so that no long shadows are cast, distracting from the whole picture. The white ground is patterned with an offset grid of circles. The floor has a gloss finish, whereas the circles have a reflective, metallic grid look to them. The color of the pattern gently gradients between gray and white in an organic manner. Very easy on the eyes, while still being visually interesting. The ground melts into the horizon behind the plaza, lending to an almost ethereal, airy feel, while the 3D icons from before are floating up ahead in the sky. In fact, the icons cast shadows down onto the plaza like passing clouds. Focusing back to the central area, let's now observe the icons. Each one represents the 10 most popular Miiverse communities of the games on your system. Or, well, they did. The icons themselves are comprised of two components, the game thumbnail and the shell. The thumbnail isn't flat, the image is plastered onto a thin board and very lightly textured with a sort of grit or noise film. The shell looks to be a thick acrylic material with a glassy polish. The edges reflect and distort the thumbnail image inside the shell, creating a semi-clear wraparound effect. The sides of the shell reflect light all around, which serves to highlight the whole shape against the background. The top has a matte effect from the light density above and a dimmer look at the bottom. Each icon has a shadow, a very unique one at that, a dark outer ring with light reflections creating 2/4 of an inner ring, with a center that casts no shadow or light at all. It feels like the icons are made with real materials, and one last little cool detail is that they are see-through. You can see the little Miis behind them. If you click on them, you'll get a menu, just like the one you get via clicking Miiverse posts. This one is condensed to just the game icon, eShop, and a Miiverse. But a nice added detail is the tile card above it, distinctly shinier with an iridescent effect. A little fun fact, the colors match the game thumbnail. Heading into the foreground, here we have some utility buttons, as well as the pointer. The pointer is the classic hand from the Wii, given a little touch-up, just a bit sharper in both design and resolution, featuring a brighter blue. Even has a tiny bit of gradient to give the sense of lighting. The bottom left buttons are non-intrusive, but clear to see if you need them. They look to be made of acrylic, like the icons, and have their own unique shading and polish. The blue highlights utilized are a nice touch for readability. To the right is the button for switching the TV and gamepad screens. It's large, casts a shadow to stand out even more, clearly displays what it does. It's just a nice big button. Not much here, I know, but that's the point. It blends in nicely with the setting, not into it. It's unintrusive but perfectly functional. Speaking of that big button, let's go ahead and click it. Now we flip from the plaza to the gamepad menu. This one resembles the original Wii menu way more, but frankly, it's just a flat out upgrade in every way. Not that the Wii menu is bad, far from it, it's top tier, but the WiiU gamepad menu not only has far more color and character, but it also has some nice quality of life upgrades. First off, the TV channel aesthetic has been ditched in favor of the plaza look. The icons are now smaller, allowing for 3 extras to fit onto the page, creating 3 rows of 5. The icons themselves aren't as ritzy as the ones in the plaza, but they still retain a lovely bubble effect. The bottom is now home to several core features rather than just settings, memory, time, date, and mail. At the bottom right is the same menu switch button, consistency. From left to right, we have the friend list, Miiverse, eShop, online services, messages, and downloads, all with their own colorful icons. They look cute and gummy-like to me. It's quite nice having some of these core functions set in a manner that is easy to access, no matter which page you're on. Settings is still a page icon though. It won't get its set placement till the next console, so points to the Switch. At the top of the screen is this little set of squares, with one highlighted in bright blue. This is the page navigator, and the one you're on is the highlighted square. Scrolling is still an option. In fact, it's smoother now, with a touchpad and bigger side triangle buttons. But now it's also easier to keep track of where you are, and if you need to get to a certain page, it's just a click away. In the background, 3D icons from the plaza sky swirl gently here. It's a nice subtle touch of momentum. And finally, in the top left corner, there is us, our little me, in our own little bubble. Hi there! Gosh, this menu is so cute. It feels more enclosed than the plaza, but a little cozier as well. All in all, they took the Wii menu and amped up the charm to the max, while delivering lots of subtle but welcomed quality of life upgrades. Last but certainly not least, we gotta talk about the sound, the glue that ties everything together. Nintendo consoles are kinda known for their musical jingles, but I think the Wii U home menu theme is underrated as hell. It captures the entire visual aesthetic, perfectly matches both menu styles, and is iconic in its own way. If I had to describe it off cuff, it's a fusion between GameCube's ominous ambience and Wii's bubbly, soft energy. It's airy, it's light, like breathing in fresh winter air, but it also rocks the subdued, atmospheric effect, balancing out the friskier notes, creating a mega chilled out vibe. That carries all over to all the other sound effects too. The clicks and presses, notifications, the me's, crispy, but with a mellowed edge. The Wii U may have been late to a party that was already over, but damn it, it still got some groove. It's a slick refresh of the Wii, while boasting its own unique qualities. It's got such a stronger grip on the Frutiger era aesthetic than any other system in that point in time. It's peak as hell in that style. Funny how something seemingly so modern is so nostalgic now, but compared to the postmodern minimalism of the Nintendo Switch, it's refreshing and lively, functional and streamlined, done in a way that only adds rather than detracts. There's so much more time spent on the details, carefully crafted to be visually appealing, in both ease of taking in info and artistic flair. It's just welcoming. Not quite like a hug or a hello, closer to the inviting air of the first cool day of spring. Maybe if things were different, it could have been a hit, but as it stands now, the Wii U remains essentially the black sheep of the Nintendo system's library. But if you're willing to give it a chance and maybe do some modding, you'll have the pleasure of enjoying a forgotten gem with great vibes and fun times. The 3DS. Now we're talking. A note to keep in mind, I'll pretty much be utilizing the 3DS XL as our showcase today. It's the model I use the most, and like I said earlier, in my opinion, is the best representation of the series, smack dab in the middle of the lineup, making it easy to compare with all the other systems in the family. So, let us begin. Second verse, same as the first, let's observe the physical build. The 3DS, in many aspects, builds upon its predecessor to create a new standard for its successors, with the XL taking it a step further with an overall larger scale. In particular, the screen space was increased a fair bit, though they remained at the same resolution. But of course, the main draw and coolest aspect is the glasses-free 3D. Two of its three cameras, one facing inward and the other two facing outward, can capture and record in 3D. Though that was more so a neat bonus to the primary use, enhancing gameplay immersion. With that said, a fantastic addition directly impacting gameplay was the circle pad. Yeah, we were rocking with just the D-pad till 2011. Another unique feature added on, however, was the gyro and motion sensors, allowing the 3DS to basically be aware that the player is moving it and react accordingly within games. Beyond its generally enhanced hardware and software from the previous DSi XL, the 3DS XL just looks flip-flop and beautiful, aesthetically pleasing and visually iconic, most recognized in that cobalt blue sheen on top and bottom shell and matte black plastic body. Viewing from the top down, the bottom corners are rounded while the top corners are squared off. It's a very classic, distinct clamshell design. The next in line, the 2DS, will depart from this to feature a fully open take, the door stopper, and damn, that thing was about as durable as one too, built to withstand the destructive force of youngsters. Even though the 2DS XL will return to the clamshell design in the last 3DS installment, the 2DS XL. Flipping the 3DS upright, we've got the left and right triggers at the corners. We can also view the cartridge slot smack dab in the middle, basically unchanged from across the entire series. To the left is the motion sensor, and to the right of this we have the USB charger port, which from the DSi XL up until the 2DS XL is the same. Flip the system to the left, the only thing here is the volume control, noted by the etching into the body. Pretty clean. Flipping the system to the right, however, whole other story. Quick rundown. Top screen has the gray 3D slider. Core body has the switch to turn on or off the wireless feature. Left of that is the stylus slot, and right beside that is the SD card slot. whose placement has jumped around quite a bit from DS to DS. Thankfully, examining the bottom is simpler. Headphone jack to the left, power and charger LEDs to the right. And finally, let's examine the back, coated in the same color as the top shell with nothing much else, just the 3DS logo, some legal jargon, and the serial code. Though, I'd like to note, these adorable little feet around the corners, just barely keeping the system off the surface, protecting various elements that would otherwise be privy to far more damage. So hard-working. And now, let us finally pry open this glorious little machine. Bam! Okay, not much going on here. Basically, the matching color of the body, except for the gray 3D slider and the circle pad. Otherwise, you've got your regular old face buttons, select, home, and start, notation of where the mic is, and the power button. Up top, you got the 3D slider, front-facing speakers, some little rubber buffers for when the screen is closed. Not much What the hell is so damn special? Oh, well my friend, the magic truly begins when we press that oh so enticing power button. Shall we see? Welcome to the home screen. If this seems a little familiar, it should be. Many aspects of the Wii U's menu design originated here. The icons, for example, are near identical, yes, but executed in a different manner. The images themselves are entirely flat, and the bottom screen runs with that, each bordered and lightly shaded underneath, appearing like stickers. The use of them on the top screen hammers that home, the icons plastered against the 4 front-facing sides of the 5 floating cubes. The space they occupy feels so vast, like it bleeds beyond the boundaries of the system. It's a neat little trick accomplished by the backdrop, 2 sets of transparent light gray cubes against just a mildly darker gray. One remains stagnant while the other moves across the screen diagonally, left to right. It's simple but conveys the sense of an almost circular 3D space brilliantly. What further adds to the sense of dimension is the way much of the UI sits closer around the edges of the screen. In fact, all the base UI is colored in various manners to fit whatever the main color scheme is on the current theme. Buttons and icons on the bottom screen in particular do this. A little detail could go a long way in holding up the visuals as a whole. Oh, and speaking of icons, you can switch them on the fly from a single file format all the way up to vertical stacks of 6. The UI overall is minimalistic, yet brimming with energy, relaxed, yet ready to go on the next adventure. So what's so special? Well, just tap your little finger on that there home menu settings icon, the one in the top left of the bottom screen. Ooh, what's this? Change theme, decorate with badges? What is this? I'll tell you what it is. Da-da-da-da! Customization! This is where the 3DS knocks it out of the park. From shell covers to skins, to system variants, accessories, and the hundreds of menu themes, it was one of, if not the, most personable system to date. Don't get me started on how popular it was to bombard the system with stickers. And that's just the customization options on the outside. The real meat and the potatoes is the menu themes. From the home screen options menu, you could drastically change the vibe of the menu via the themes. The music changes, the UI syncs up with the new art and colors, even some of the sound effects change, all in service to spice up the visuals of the menu. When the Nintendo Arcade dropped, it introduced a brand new method of decking out the home screen. Badges, collectible prizes from the game's many gacha arcade machines, offering pins from numerous titles, original collections, etc., etc. Even popular properties that weren't on the system were present. My favorite badge collection are the bonsai, which pair nicely with my favorite menu theme. Aside from boasting its impressive library of quality titles, the 3DS was handheld gaming perfected, functional yet dripping with style, emanating the sensation of boundless fun. Absolutely charming, highly customizable, all with that signature high-grade Nintendo polish. For many of us, it defined a large portion of our childhood gaming. Wherever we went, there it was, our gateway to a different place, tucked in our bags and pockets, and over time, it became a representation of us, our likes and passions, inside and out. The 3DS and Wii U are both time capsules of their respective eras, perfectly embodying Nintendo's double-edged sword of an ideology towards creativity, delivering all-around fresh, fly, nostalgic vibes, reaching for the stars, but on occasion, falling short. For now, I hope you got a better understanding on why the 3DS and Wii U's design choices and visual art direction helped to create the respective distinctive vibes. If you ever feel compelled to pick one or the other up just to revisit, I highly recommend it. It's never been a better time to mod either system. In fact, I plan on doing that myself at some point to go look at various games I missed during their heyday. A bit ironic too, considering their successor is in its closing years as of this recording. Rumors of the Switch 2 are flying about even this early into the year, so let's not waste time. Next video, we're diving into the Switch, where it succeeds and fails, how flip-flopping fun it is, and how utterly devoid of style it is. Yeah, I said it. Tune in next time on Channel-VEGA, where we're going to praise and roast the hell out of the Nintendo Switch. This has been your hostess Vega, signing off.